It's called the Samadhi-bhavana Sutta. Anguttara Nikaya, Book of Force, Sutta number 41. And there the Buddha talks of 4 types of development of samadhi. The first type is the 4 jhanas. The second is perception of light. The third is awareness of feelings, perceptions, and thoughts. This one is equivalent to the definition of Sambhajana that can be found in Appendix 1. Known feelings arise, known feelings persist, known feelings go away. Known thoughts and perceptions arise, persist, and go away. Okay, so this is also a sort of Samadhi-bhavana. This is also a sort of development of samadhi. And then another development of samadhi is contemplating rise and fall of the 5 aggregates. What is almost exactly stated as in the section on the 5 aggregates. It says, iti rupam, iti rupasa samudayo, iti rupasa atthangamo. Thus is form, thus is how form arises, thus is how form goes away, and so forth, each of the 5 aggregates. So, by contemplating the 5 aggregates in such a way, also is a type of Samadhi-bhavana. Alright? So, can you apply, the word composure? Can you apply the word concentration or collectedness, to such situations? Think for yourself. I'm not going to give any answers. Alright? But anyway, each of these types of samadhi, samadhi of jhana, samadhi of perception of light, samadhi of awareness of feelings, perceptions, and thoughts, the samadhi of contemplating rise and fall of the 5 aggregates, lead to different goals. Okay, the 4 jhanas lead to comfortable dwelling here and now. Perception of light, the samadhi of perception of light leads to knowledge and vision. Now, knowledge and vision is usually taken to mean insight. Now, if we just use the word knowledge, it might be something intellectual. One might think that it's something intellectual. So that's why the Buddha always combined, jnana dasana, knowledge and vision, because it's something that you experience yourself as though you see it with your own eyes, but it's with the mind. Now, it's not just intellectual understanding, but it's experiential understanding. So the word that the Buddha prefers to use is knowledge and vision, combine the two together. But according to the commentary, the perception of light by itself does not lead to insight in the true sense of the word. It doesn't. Knowledge and vision usually also can refer to arahantship. But just by developing the samadhi that you can gain through perception of light will not bring you there. Now, so what is this knowledge and the vision that is mentioned here? And the commentaries say that this refers to the divine eye, Dibbacakku. In Dibbacakku, you can see with your divine eye, with the internal eye, or like Tibetans would say, with the third eye, things that you cannot normally see with your naked eye. Then awareness of feelings, perceptions, and thoughts. This sort of samadhi leads to mindfulness and clear knowing. Why? Because if you are able to catch your thoughts, your feelings and perceptions, then you can be clearly aware of what's happening, right? You will not be dragged and drowned in the thoughts and stories that are created by the mind. You will be able to step back and look at things, and you'll be able to distinguish whether they are worth following or not, or worth believing or not. So that's why if you are continually aware of your feelings, perceptions, and thoughts, you will always be mindful and clearly knowing. So that is the cause and condition for mindfulness and clear knowing. Now, contemplating rise and fall of the 5 aggregates, the samadhi that is gained through this will lead to the destruction of all mental defilements, which means attainment of arahantship. Now, if you just look at this sutta, what do you think is right samadhi? Right samadhi in the scheme of the Noble Eightfold Path, what should it be? Huh? The last one, isn't it? But right samadhi is defined as the 4 jhanas. Yes, It is defined in many suttas as the four jhanas. So how do we reconcile this apparent contradiction? You want to make that a subject of your discussion? Your work out. Okay, let me see. I don't have much time. All right, I'll give you the answer lah. There's only my understanding of how it is. Actually, these four types of samadhis need not necessarily be exclusive. They can actually overlap. You know, so my understanding is that although you can get some samadhi from contemplating the rise and fall of the five aggregates, the samadhi will not qualify as right samadhi in the Noble Eightfold Path until the level of samadhi is equivalent to the four jhanas. Okay? Perception of light also can get the four jhanas. You know, the level of your perception of light, you know, can also get you to the four jhanas. Awareness of feelings, perceptions and thoughts can also get you to the four jhanas, provided you understand jhana differently from what Visuddhimagga understands it. But what is the difference between 3 and 4? You know, feelings, perceptions and thoughts are also part of the five aggregates, are they not? Right? Feelings and perceptions are already number 2 and number 3. And then thoughts can be under sankharas. So what's the difference? Well, my understanding is that in the fourth type of samadhi, it is very specific. You look at the cause and condition. Say, thus is rupa. You know, thus is vedana. Thus is how vedana arises. Thus is how vedana ceases. So you see cause and conditioning. You see anicca, dukkha, anatta. Whereas in awareness of feelings, perceptions and thoughts, it is not mentioned. You know when thoughts are there, you know when thoughts are not there. Doesn't necessarily mean that you look at it in terms of anicca, dukkha, anatta, you know. In fact, any successful person in the world would have this, number 3. He will be able to be aware of his thoughts, perceptions and feelings, to be able to control his emotions and his rational thinking. Right or not? Every successful CEO, every successful worldly scholar will need to have this. If you cannot have control over your own emotions and your rational thinking, how are you going to be successful in life? Right? So this is something else. This leads to mindfulness and clear knowing. You're clearly aware of what's happening, you know, but need not necessarily be aware of things from the Buddhist perspective. So the Buddhist perspective is only stressed in number 4. That's why it's different. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, let's look at Bhante Gunaratana. You all know him, don't you? Now, Bhante Ji. His radical change of view about jhana. This comes from a critical analysis of the jhanas in Theravada Buddhist meditation, his PhD thesis submitted in 1980 and published in 1999 in Malaysia for free distribution. And see what he says. The Pali word jhana has been rendered by translators in English in various ways. The word absorption is the most suitable of the lot. The jhanas themselves are states of deep mental unification characterized by a total immersion of the mind in its object. Okay, that was how he defined it in 1980. Okay, look at how he says it now in 2007. Should we come out of jhana to practice vipassana? He wrote this in a paper contributed to a book published in honor of Venerable Dhammaratana. What he mentioned earlier in the previous slide is the Visuddhimagga's understanding and definition of jhana. All right. Now, the very title of his paper, you know, already shows what he's trying to say. Okay. Okay, this one is based on the Visuddhimagga's definition and understanding of what the jhanas are. It's absorption. Total absorption in an object means that all your 5 senses are cut off. All right. In his paper in 2007, he says, when we become absorbed into our object of focus, what we are practicing is wrong jhana. When we practice right jhana, we will be able to see things as they really are. If you are absorbed in a subject, you will not understand nor remember anything. If you want to read more about his conclusions and his whole mass of citations from the suttas to support his conclusion, you can download Should We Come Out of Jhana. You just go and get this from the internet. It's available for free. Right? Should we come out of jhana to practice vipassana?